What is Hay Bale Gardening? We're here at Davis Family Farms, and Sam Maupin is going to tell us all about it. Hey, Sam.
Hi.
Hi. You are a horticulturist, but you also live on a family farm, Davis Family Farm. You also work at Brothers Greenhouses. Mm-hmm. And we're sitting in front of hay bales. Mm-hmm. But your expertise is really in soils too. So what can you tell us about your expertise?
Okay, well I'll say any so-called expertise really just comes from developing a close relationship with my place over time. Mm-hmm. And I'm constantly humbled by the complexity of farming and gardening and everything that goes into that. Every year is completely different, this year especially, and every year that we can make it through, I learn something and I become more resilient and more aware as a gardener and a person, and I try to bring that into what I offer the community.
Cool. Well, we're sitting on hay bales, and there's a ton of them behind us. So how do you garden in a hay bale, and why?
Okay, that's a great question. I'm excited about anything related to building soil carbon and saving the environment. And that's gardening in hay bales is one way to do that. It's obviously like mulching, you're building up the soil. Mm-hmm. But when I saw this model in Acres magazine, I realized that I could use all of our 2-year-old hay from the barn and plant directly into it without tilling. And so it's really a cool way to build soil and improve the ecosystem.
I know that you've done some research, and so how long have you been gardening in hay bales at the nursery and here, and what have you found out?
Well, we've been gardening in hay bales experimentally for about 5 years, mm-hmm. and we've been keeping some records on things we're doing. So at the greenhouse, we do an annual tomato trial.
I can hardly wait.
We harvested 20 pounds per plant off of our tomato trial last year, which is amazing because it's double our normal harvest in containers. And so
wow.
Most of my research, though, is just kind of observational and experiential, and I encourage everybody to do the same.
Yeah, we should keep records, shouldn't we?
And try it out.
Yeah, and don't be afraid.
Exactly.
So if we were going to do a hay bale, where do you find the hay? And I've also heard the term straw, and I know you're going to tell us the difference. So how do we get all these materials and put them together? Okay,
well, I'll start by saying local hay is the best, or organic straw. Anything that you use can't contain herbicide residue. And so we are lucky to be making hay here on the farm. And so every year we pick a whole bunch up out of the lower field and store it in the barn. And because of that abundance, that's what I'm using here. To get it started, we have to add some fertilizer. So we spike them basically with some fertilizer. It can be organic fertilizer or anything you want, but basically you have to feed the composting process. And so after about a month of composting with fertilizer during the rainy season, the hay bale becomes suitable to plant. And once it cools down to about less than 90 degrees, you can plant almost whatever you want into the hay bale.
If we were having a dry season like we have been having, how would they get it really wet? And how long do they want to get it wet?
So I like to put it out in the wet season, but if you can't do that, I run a soaker hose on it, or I water it with just a standard hose like you would a container or a raised bed. It really doesn't use much more water than a raised bed.
Cool. And are there things that you should plant in them that do better than others, and what don't you put in them?
Okay, so I think that almost all the annuals work really well, flowers and vegetables specifically. But you can plant perennials in there. Just keep in mind that the hay breaks down over time, and After about a year, you're going to have some funny looking hay bales, and your perennials will need to be moved and transplanted. But vegetables that I've struggled with in the past are carrots and parsnips. They don't make very nice roots, they make nice tops. But otherwise, everything works so well right next to the hay bale. Everything that you plant right next to the hay bale is the best.
Yeah. I think I remember you telling me about that you could actually grow potatoes, and that even though they're a root crop, sometimes beets do okay in there?
Yeah, I've had success with beets right on top and potatoes in the bale. I've also cooked potatoes by putting them in bales that were not cured yet and too hot.
Perfect tip, because you know we don't want our readers to have our viewers to have their vegetables crisped before they're ready, right? So where could they contact you for more information?
Well, I'm at the Brothers Greenhouses almost every day, and I love to meet people and find out what's going on in the gardening community. And my family represents the farm at the Port Orchard Farmers Market, Bremerton Farmers Market, and on kitsapfresh.org, so you can look for our products there.
Perfect, because it's all about the land, it's all about what we grow on it, and supporting local farmers and finding good, healthy food, right, without any pesticides.
Yeah, that's very important to us here.
Thank you so much for telling us about straw and hay bale gardening, and I'm sure you'll get lots of visitors to the nursery, which is even better too.
All right, thank you.
And the farmers markets.
Yeah, check it out.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.